Welcome to the Keeping It Real show. Make sure you let us know where you're tuning in from. Tell us where you're tuning in from tonight. Kamikaze Cowboy, the Sukiyaki Jockey, the MOT, the Man of Trail, Tim Kimura, and the man behind the wheel at Keeping It Real, Brad Jewett. Welcome, everybody. We're counting down 30 seconds. We got a crowd going tonight. Stay tuned. 20 seconds.
I'm Brad Jewett.
I'm Tim, the Trail Man.
Keeping it real.
And now, Brad and Tim.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Timmy, what's going on?
Kickin' chicken. How about your new intro, man? Love that.
So, you like it?
Yeah.
Like a little Southern rock tonight as we get rolling.
How about that music, too, man? Everyone loves that music, huh?
Got a good vibe to it tonight. We're on a great night tonight. It's Type the Topic Thursday with our special guest, Gene Spagnola and Mr. Robin Frid.
Yeah. Woo.
It'll be a great night. We got some cool stuff for you. Lots of education, of course, with the panel that we got tonight. Would you expect anything less?
Yes.
Dan Swain in the house. Jeff Parkin, always our first one here. Jonathan Mueller, yes.
How about
Mr. Gene
Garfield?
Spagnola's birthday today, ladies and gentlemen. How about that?
50,
He's 23 years old?
24.
24. Gotcha. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're over the century mark tonight for people watching. Tim, if it's okay with you, we'd like to bring in our guest. I'll let you introduce him, Tim. Kona, let's bring Robin and Geno in, please.
Good evening.
Everybody muted.
You guys there?
Hey, so we can hear you.
Yeah, we're here.
All right, I got Robin, Geno.
Robin Frid is new chairman, show committee, and show council, right?
Something like that. That's what they say.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good. And Mr. Geno Spagnola is back in the house, the birthday boy, the Italian stallion. What are you doing?
Something. Are you
Got some cupcakes.
There we go. Cupcake. Can we share those virtually?
Wow.
No, I'm not sharing them.
Ducky's cupcakes, baby. They're the best.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we really appreciate
Maybe
you
they
guys
need a
helping
keeping it
us.
real cupcake.
Yeah.
There you go. How about my background, Geno?
I love your background. C. Letchworth. MOT bit. Love it.
I'm working it tonight.
You
Well,
love to have pictures of yourself, don't you?
I do. There's a triplet last night. I was just like the Canzero brothers last night, so. Okay, boys. Ready to
Wild
go?
night, wasn't it?
Bradford, what do you think?
I think we need to get rolling. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm still hearing an echo somewhere. I'm not sure if y'all have a phone nearby your screen or something. Make sure it's down. If not, it's on my end. We'll figure it out.
Eugene, here we go.
Let's go, buddy.
Let's roll.
Let's talk about, so we got a trail task force here. You want to talk about, Geno?
Yeah, I'd love to. I just want to thank you guys. This is the second time I've been on. It's a great show. You know, trail is a passion of mine, but I guess what I'm known best for is being in the way in trail warm-up.
I agree.
In here.
So, you know, trail is one of the largest classes at every horse show. It's been one of the fastest growing segments of our business for years. So we felt as though it was a perfect time as we see the growth pattern of this class. You know, I'm not saying we're peaking, but obviously the growth has slowed down. And that's just the nature of how things evolve. And with that, it's a perfect time to review the class. And the best place to start is to look back at history. And once we learn from history, it's a great way to help us make decisions and look forward to the future. And I will say, in doing that, we've evolved in a lot of areas. First, Tim has, really designed some great horses to exhibit the flow and the movement of our horses. And he's come up with, we started out with a pinwheel that had, 4 poles in it, and we have probably 8 different types of pinwheels now.
Right.
I don't want to get into the detail, but he's done a fantastic job. And, just from AQHA's point, Patty has taken some steps to help the judges judge the class better. We used to have, +1 to -1 system. We've opened it up to a +1.5, -1.5 system. We've spent a lot of time educating the judges, and I'll say Patty's done a great job.
Yep.
But when we reflected and looked at courses all the way back, I want to say to the late 80s, early 90s, and we just compared them to the courses we see today. And those courses, there's a lot of things that are better about the courses we ride today, but we noticed that there were things that we strayed away from. And not saying that it's good or bad, but when we look at the rule book, there are things that we're not emphasizing that are in the rule book as obstacles. So we looked at the slow technical obstacles, which we saw an enormous amount back in time that we've gotten away from. And we also got away from moving obstacles that, challenged our steering and the horse's agility. With that said, I don't want anybody to think that we're not concerned about rewarding great movement. We want to reward great movement, and the system that we have in place rewards great movement. So I just want to turn it over to Robin. He's going to talk a little bit about, the rule book, the World Show, and some of the other reasons we're here today. Thanks, guys.
Good job, Geno. That was very well said. Go ahead.
So kind of to start is, we wanted to be able to give a little history of this working group that we have. And it started out with a vision that kind of Geno came to myself, and then we in turn went to Patty, visited with her, and we formed a group of 5. That was the original group that met. It was actually the day before the prelims of the Green Trail, I believe. I wouldn't say prelims. It's only one go-round there. So the original 5 was Brent Maxwell, Tim Kimura, Miss Nancy Cahill, Geno Spagnola, and myself. And we kind of sat in a room and just kind of hashed out some thoughts. It was the beginning of, and the first thing we didn't come up with originally, but we came up with was a mission statement as to what is our goal. And we can't thank Patty enough for being such a ridiculously strong leader and keeping our vision going forward. So our mission statement, kind of to sum up exactly what Geno said earlier, is to protect the history and intent of the class while looking forward and promoting excellence. And that to me just sums it up right there altogether. And the rule book talks about the emphasis on promoting the ability for a horse to steer and to guide and to negotiate obstacles and to reward excellent movement. It says it right there in the description of trail. And you guys can all go through and read all that. I don't want to bore you with it, but how it all began. We went around the room and we talked about, what do you feel we have great going on in our class? What do you feel maybe where are we falling down? I mean, isn't that kind of how it started, Geno?
That's exactly how it started. I just, for me, I want to go back a couple of years when I was at the Youth World with one of my kids getting ready for the finals. And Tim kind of had this, hard to explain, it was like a V side pass. Is that the best way to describe it, Tim?
Yeah.
And, well, I was up most of the night. And it was a long night for myself, my horse, and my kid. And that's when in my head, it just started evolving that, first of all, I have to do a better job. But what happens is you go to the World Show, you see all these slow, intricate obstacles, you get mad at yourself, and then you go home from the World Show, you go to your first horse show, and you say you're going to do it, and you don't do it. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I'm just admitting it. Sorry to all my customers, but it's the truth. So what we want to do is introduce obstacles that you're going to see at the World Show throughout the year. Now, we can't put them all in because at the World Show, the courses are, 4.5 minutes long. But we can put one obstacle in that we're going to see at a time and make the process evolutionary starting in January with some of the easier obstacles and work our way up to prepare us for the Youth World, Select World, and the Open World. And amateur, of course, because those are the only places we were seeing those type of obstacles. And now it was a lesson for me, and I think for everybody. And I think we're going to force ourselves to take the time and practice these obstacles and prepare ourselves for the end goal. And it's going to make me a better horse trainer and get my horses prepared better. So I won't be up all night. Nobody wants to do that.
Well, we went around the room that day and we came up with, you've definitely got 4 strong minds, and then you've got me sitting in there as well. And Patty being our 6th person just to kind of oversee and keep us on the right track. And we came up with 2 really, really strong thoughts that we saw with dilemmas with our class. We saw a lot of positive with our class. Our horse trainers, and they are outstanding. And we talked earlier today, if we needed to, I talked to Jake Hartman earlier today. I said, if you told us we had to get 3 steps in a 2-foot gap in a walkover, we'd figure out how to do it.
Yep.
I mean, the horse training ability and the horse flesh underneath of us is remarkable. How talented so many of us have gotten. So the 2 things that we found were, one, a lot of the tight steering, tight transitions, and obstacles that required us to truly control 1 foot at a time. We were falling down on those in that task, and we were falling down as trainers, and we weren't practicing it enough. We were falling down in teaching our horses. We were definitely falling down in teaching our students. Now, I'm generalizing things. There's probably a group of people ready to lynch me saying, well, I teach that. You know what? Good for you. I forgot, no doubt. I wasn't doing it. And the second thing that we kind of noticed was, and it's no fault to the judges, but the judges weren't strong and confident in scoring those obstacles. It wasn't that they didn't have the ability. We never saw them. You see them once a year, maybe twice a year if you're lucky. So all this comes down to exactly what Geno was talking about is, a little bit of self-reflection, and we need to get our horses continuing to get them more broke. We need to get ourselves more comfortable. We need to get our riders more comfortable. And that's the one that really hit home to me is I can, me and Geno, Jason Gillum, Bruce Vickery, Brad, we can everyone, Whitney, we can teach our horse something quick if we really have to. But what about our student?
Right.
What about our amateur that on a prayer and a whim, made the finals. And now they have to go up against that course. And we haven't prepared them. And 24 hours out, they're panicking and we're panicking and the horse is panicking, and pretty much recipe for disaster, right? So we needed to go back and remind ourselves how to do all those things. And just like Geno said, and Tim has done a great job in starting to introduce this, and it's a learning curve for him too. Don't think it isn't. And he's going to talk about that a little later, but we've got to go have those maneuvers and obstacles in the steering and the control throughout the year, so that when we reach that World Show, we're comfortable, we're prepared, and we're strong in presenting truly our best foot forward going into that prelims and World Shows. And not only the World Show, the Congress, the NSBA, all of the above.
So and I don't want anybody to think it's only because I said that, and as Rob was speaking, I just reflected on what I said. I don't want anybody to think it's all about the World Show. It's not. I'm saying every trail horse should be able to side pass, walk over a bridge, go through a water box. That is just carry an obstacle. It's just not, it's just part of the class. Those are all maneuvers that are in the rule book. Just because we haven't been using them doesn't mean they're not a part of the class.
And we show up at again, not necessarily the World Show, and all of a sudden the course designer, whether it be Tim, whether it be Robert Dean, whoever, whether it be Carson, and whoever it is, and they throw one at us that's in the rule book, and we're like, where the heck? We don't need that obstacle. Get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
We don't need to be doing that today. Yeah, we probably do need to be doing that today. We need to remind ourselves how to control that horse's body and feet underneath of us. And Tim has reminded me of this so much. Our buddy Jason, he reminded me of that a long time ago. The ability to keep a horse within its own frame and not have these huge steps or ask it to yield off of your foot and it just jump all over the place.
So real quick, Bradford, maybe we should remind everybody, because that's kind of the introduction part, that is Type the Topic Thursday. So,
yep.
Everyone's listening right now because we got to get a base of where we're at. But, guys, if you guys have any questions out there, what we're discussing, it's definitely Type the Topic Thursday tonight. So we're going to open this up.
We are.
Conversation.
Michelle Fornes is going to learn trail. It's not the pandemic, Michelle.
Kicking and screaming. Kicking and screaming.
One more thing, you guys. Then can you talk about, we add 2 more people along the ways too?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Tim, because I glanced down at my notes and we did. So we noticed that we needed a few more thoughts brought into our original group of 5, and we really didn't have a representation from the West Coast very well in our group. And so we have a lot of history with Nancy, with Tim. We've got, the center part of the country with Brent, myself. We've got Geno out on the east. So out on the West Coast, we added Gary Roberts and Karen Graham, and both being trail exhibitors that, they've been at it for a long time. They've seen this thing evolve from one place all the way up to where it was at one time, now to where we are now. So they've really seen everything, and they really brought a lot to the table. I felt they were involved in our first meeting we had a little over a week and a half ago, and they brought a ton to the table. It was a really, really good addition to have those 2 and to have their wisdom on the table.
Well, I think we haven't had a single negative comment, and I don't expect to have one tonight. And because just to the sheer number of horsemen that you have on this committee, I think we all should feel like we're in pretty dang good hands right now, and that there's nothing that's going to happen, any decisions that are going to be made that haven't been thought through every which way. And all this committee, I feel, is trying to do is enhance. That's it. Not take anything away from what we already have. It's just enhancing one of the, if not the biggest class we have at the horse show. So thank you all from me to you guys because I know whenever you do this, it's extra time on the phone, on now probably video calls and stuff like that. But I know there's probably been some sit-down meetings as well. So thank you for your time. And I'm kind of excited about it. As a coach and a teacher, I love these kind of challenges because whenever you have something new that you get to teach your horses and teach your kids, it keeps everybody, if we're not learning something every day, we kind of sitting still, you're going backwards, right? So this is just a way. We should have already all been doing these things, but we've gotten kind of comfortable with trail as the way it is, which it's been great. But this is going to be, again, just to keep using the same word, it's going to be enhanced for what we need to do and let these kids, let these amateurs, selects, and trainers just step their game up to another level.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Tim.
No, I'm just saying, side passing is vogue here. Side passing is what I got to watch you guys do. And I know at the beginning of the year, we're not great at it. Okay. So start in Florida. Worked a Prairie Classic, worked to Vegas, worked to Arizona before we stopped showing. And start maybe at the World Show too, but just maybe, I don't want to say exposing, but yes, it is exposing you guys that you need to practice it a little bit more or teach your people a little bit more to side pass, whether it be around that corner, going over the blind pole, we call it, stepping over the pole to start. It was just a move you guys didn't have very well. You could do it, but you didn't have it very well. And I was trying to inspire you guys to get fixed.
Yeah, I'll say because when we all saw the pattern, the senior pattern at the World Show, and we had the very first maneuver is a step over, side pass, and by like the first time that thing was set up, I don't know, there was probably at least 25 trainers watching one horse go over, trying to figure out, okay, what is the best path to be able to get through this, right? And I think, and as Robin mentioned before, is a great testament to all of our horse training abilities. I didn't see very many wrecks there, to be honest with you. But now we have to take this to where we can inspire our kids to want to learn how to do that, and our amateurs and selects and so on, right? And so that's why we're going to try to incorporate more of these things week in and week out, and not just at our major horse shows, which is, I believe, what you're saying is why this task force was brought.
Hey, Brad, I just want to make sure everyone knows that's listening that I'm not making this decision in a vacuum. Everyone, feel free to reach out to any of these people on this task force at any time. We would love your input. So if you have something on your mind, you don't like it, you know what? You could find us, email us, text us. We're all available. If you can't find us, call AQHA. They'll provide us. I think at the end, maybe Rob and I will provide our email to everybody.
You bet, no problem. And that's a great topic is this group of 7, we have no power to change the rules of trail. We have no power to add new obstacles, to take them away. All we're doing is we were just doing a reflection on what's going on. And I got me a little tagline here that I looked up today, so I'm gonna share it just because I took the time. But
go for it.
Sometimes you have to take a step back to see that you're moving forward in the desired direction.
Good.
And we're just reminding ourselves of what we need to be teaching our horses to make ourselves better horses, to make our riders better horses, and so that when we see those obstacles at whatever event, we're prepared for them. That's really all that as a group that we're doing. And Geno said it best, this group of 7, we are not changing anything about the class. We're just reminding ourselves about the class. And when people come up and visit with us, we want to listen. We want to hear what they have to say because they're part of it too. Everyone that enters that class is part of the direction that it should go. So
hey,
good
Tim,
comment.
Tim, can I bring in a question from the crowd here real quick? Because we have a lot to cover, ladies and gentlemen, so I think this may be a quick answer, but it's a great answer or a great question from Kathy Bollinger. And I'd love to hear Robin and Geno's take on this. Can you guys see the question? Do you prefer a short-strided horse versus a long-strided horse for trail?
Long.
Robin says long. Geno?
Well, long. I mean, understand a trot stride is 3 feet. A lope stride is 6 feet.
That's a minimum. A minimum.
So if you're training a horse, it's always easier to shorten a horse's stride than lengthen it. I will say that you can lengthen a horse's stride. Don't feel as because you have a short-strided horse, you cannot make the distances. You know, there are exercises to do to lengthen your horse's stride and work toward, you know, having the 6 foot stride necessary to make it through a trail course.
The dilemma is some of the shorter strided horses that they can be trickier, and all that you can feel like you're running, no doubt. You know, just where that long strided horse is just so much easier to teach.
Okay, so I'm going to jump for this one, okay, guys, because this is where it's all at.
Tim, before we go, because if you're going to jump to another topic, while we're still here, I got a message from the Miss Stephanie Lynn, and I think it's very plausible because of their Future Horseman program that they're doing. She goes, can you talk a bit how the do-it-yourselfer can learn from what the task force is trying to do? And so as I heard this question, we just want to make sure that we're not talking over the new horse trainer that's coming into our business, right? So what we've already said is we're not trying to reinvent trail. You're not adding, that's not even the right word either. I'll let you guys talk about it because you guys, this is what you guys have been doing. But just if you can, both of you can, and Tim as well, because I know you're on the task force, but how can a do-it-yourselfer learn from this show tonight how to incorporate everything that you guys are saying?
Go to mot.com and get his video. You know, I'm just saying, I'm sure in Tim's videos that he goes through all do you go over a bridge in your videos, Tim?
Yes.
Side pass?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a great resource. I'm not trying to sell Tim's videos over, you know.
Oh, go ahead. You can go to jewetequine.tv if you want to say that one too, because we got hours of it there too. You're absolutely right.
There's resources out there. You know, and I feel as though they can reach out to other professional horsemen and ask us for help. You know, people think that I guess I'm basically look unapproachable most of the time, but I'm really not. Feel free. And I think I speak for everybody that's on the show tonight.
You know, something too to kind of throw out there, the Professional Horseman has been working on a mentoring program, and it's getting ready to launch pretty soon. And there'll be a list. If you go to AQHA's website, you can go to the Professional Horseman page. All the mentors, now any professional horseman out there will help you, but go to that mentors list and, you know, go down and give one of them a call, shoot them an email. And if they can't help you, they'll connect you with someone that can. That would be an excellent resource right there.
There you go.
And that's going to launch very soon.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, Timmy.
So,
yeah, Geno's back. Good.
It's overwhelming to see.
I don't know what happened.
I said it's overwhelming to see who's in the house tonight, okay?
It is. It's awesome. We got a great...
Can't sneak in here, you know. Patty's out there, Charlie's out there, Stephanie's out there. It's, wow. So here's my big one. The quality of movement versus manners and responding to the being responsive to the rider. You know, those are the three things that we weigh out a little bit when we're judging an obstacle. How do we, maybe it's Rob and me, we're talking like, okay, we're always looking for quality of movement. Yes, for sure. Okay. But then we're also looking for manners and also looking for responsiveness to the rider. Okay. And so the trot lopes, that's one thing. And then when we do the slow obstacles, it's another thing. I mean, the same characteristics, but how's that? I mean, I don't even know how I'm wording this question wrong. How do you weigh that as a judge? Did I lose you?
Quality of movement to me is the last. That's the excellence. That's what gets you the 1.5, whatever. So I don't know why all of a sudden I have an echo. But
Yeah,
I'll talk about that. But
I can't hear it.
Okay.
To me, the response to the rider is number one, and that works equally with manners. And my quality of movement comes third. I'm here to tell you, if I could still show him Zip's Hidden Resource, I love that horse.
Right.
Tell me he was a good mover. You can't. You can't. I mean, no one can argue he was a good mover. But that horse had amazing response to a rider. He had a great stride. He had great expression. He could do any obstacle that Tim could throw at him, and he could do it, clean and soft and as elegant as he could do it. But you watch that horse lope out in the open, no one could say that was a great mover. And I've been blessed, as many of us have, to have some great movers, but I'd take Harley all day long.
Yeah.
Right.
Over some of the ones that I had that were beautiful movers that were more challenging horses to show.
So if it comes down to me as a course designer, there's sometimes I draw and there's a lot of room to judge that movement. And sometimes there's not a lot of room and I'm going to make you steer around. And also, trust me, I know to stretch you guys out. Like, I'll make you turn, I'll make you lengthen, I'll make you shorten, I'll make you show me more than just one motion or one way of loping. I always try to put a two-strider out there just to see if you stretch out or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Tim, the thing about that is you don't need open space. I'm not a judge, okay? I'm just a horseman. But I am going to say you don't need open space for somebody to judge whether it's a good mover or not. Yes. I firmly believe that.
I agree with you.
But when there's more room out there, two things happen. One, you got to see him lope more times. Two, it's actually harder to get to that pole when it's 6, 7 strides away on a single pole versus a rep that has 4 and 5 in a row. Yes.
Here's an interesting thought too. You talked about the open space and watching the movement, and a lot of times, and Brad, back me up to tell me what you think here. When we're judging, you kind of get a feeling when you're watching that horse, and you watch a horse trot off, lope off, whatever, and boy, they crack those legs, and you're like, man, this could be big. This could be a big score on this horse. And I go back to the person that taught me how to judge the hunters. Shane George taught me how to judge the hunters. And I was sitting in his house watching video and talking through the run as I had learned in judges school to do. And I'm like, boy, I'm watching this horse canter off, and that's a big, beautiful stride. This one could be in the 80s, in the 90s. And Shane stopped the tape, and he looked at me, he said, you hadn't even seen that thing jump.
Yeah.
How do you know it's going to be in the 80s? You haven't even watched it jump yet.
Right.
I said, well, I'm just getting a feeling. He's like, you can have your feeling all you want. Watch it go over the jump. Watch it go over the pole.
Yeah.
Because
True statement.
Yeah, watch it go over that pole, because that one that you love, sometimes those really elegant movers are not as dynamic and as
right.
And athletic over top of that pole. And especially when Trailman goes, jacking those things, all of a sudden that horse turns into a little bit harder horse to show. And that horse that's a little bit more climby and, might be the one that you're looking for. So something to remember.
I support everything you said there 100%. I've said it on the show on other Type to Topic Thursdays because we get a lot of those questions. And I'm always about the flow and the feel and honestly how the horse appears, not in just movement over the poles, but in how much they enjoy it, how much precision of the horse and the rider together, and not just mechanically horse doing the trail and the rider steering it through the course. So just to add a couple of little things there, you said it as good as or better than I could have. So yeah, you're 100% right. And it's a small world because I just saw Shane not too long ago and I hadn't seen him in forever. So
oh gosh, I haven't seen Shane in forever.
yeah, saw him this year, a few months ago.
Great horseman.
Yes.
Can we use this opportunity to address Whitney's question? And I'm not being funny and I really am not being funny because it's just a point. Everybody knows, or if you didn't know, I used to show a horse for Whitney for many years, and he wouldn't go through the water box. And people say, you know, okay, my horse won't do this. Not every horse will do everything.
Right.
And we can't build obstacles based on a horse not having the ability to do that. A trail course, a horse has to have certain abilities. One of them is to go through a water box. And by the way, I made it through the water box, and I got a standing ovation at the World Show.
If I remember, said water box, you guys were throwing peppermints in that thing. And the next class after that trail was the senior Western riding. And one of those peppermint wrappers was still in the dirt. And I came down that line on stretch machine, and he caught the reflection of that stupid wrapper. He stretched the machine right out of there.
So, let's do it this way. Like when I draw patterns too, though, I'm going to go back to my deal. I try to lope you. I try to make you turn. I try to balance it out with some slow obstacles that show some control also. So I'm trying to wrap up this pattern that makes you show different skills that you guys have and still make it judgeable for the class. And like I said, there's a balance to this, right? And I just haven't mastered the balance of time and doing this pattern yet, but I'm getting better at it. And I just need a horse show to practice how much time it does that side pass, how much time it takes that correct back to use. If I'm going to walk you over that bridge and walkovers or that side pass, it's a tricky little thing on time, and we talk about that. It's not all about me, about how much time I'm taking, but I definitely need to show that side pass or some type of control obstacle to force you guys to not just lope over the wood.
That's right. And Tim, you're cutting yourself a little short because you're actually getting quite good at it. And the hardest thing for you was this freaking virus that just shut all of us down, as we know, but it shuts you down as being someone to get more creative and to even get better. Like I watched in Florida, and you and I would sit and visit and talk and, okay, this one's running a little long. What can you alter? You did, and you grew, and you went to the Prairie Classic and, had a little dilemma with one pattern, ran a little long. You figured it out after the first class and you altered it. And then you went into, I wasn't in Vegas, but kind of heard about it. And you went in there, and then you went into Arizona. And, I thought you got exceptionally good. Honestly, a lot of those patterns were 3.5, slightly over patterns. And people say, oh, we were showing in the middle of the night because Tim's side pass or whatever. I think the exact opposite. If you really look at the schedules of those shows, sometimes we weren't starting until 10:30 or 11 in the morning with those huge blocks. Tim's patterns ran the same time as they always would. We just have that many people interested in our classes. Right. And that's a great thing to have, but you're getting a lot better at it than you think you are.
I think at the beginning I wanted to be great, like in Florida, right? And I just had too much that I wanted to watch you guys do at the beginning, and I didn't piece it out like I ought to, like the side pass. There was different ways of side passing around. Actually, let's do that one picture, you guys. Can I do that one picture, Conan? Do you have a second there?
Which picture is that?
Frankie's. Let's do Frankie's picture real quick.
Right. While you're pulling up those pictures, we have a question from Christine Scheck. Sir, when can we expect the changes to take place at the horse shows? And I know right now we don't even know when the horse shows are going to start, but is this something that this task force is like immediately wanting to implement? Is that something which you were kind of prelude to, Robin, talking about Florida and all that? Like, we want to start implementing these more at every week every month horse show from here on out?
Geno, you want that?
Yeah, either. It's already started taking place. We did it in Florida already. We did it in Las Vegas. We did the Prairie Classic, Arizona. So it was rolling out. And just so everybody knows, you're not going to go to a horse show and all of a sudden see something that looks completely different than you're used to.
Right.
It's really not going to look different.
Right.
If you're listening to what we're all saying, go to the rule book, see what obstacles are optional, and teach your horses.
There you go.
Well, we're sitting there in our first meeting. Do you guys remember? And you gotta love Nancy Cahill. That is a woman. When she speaks, it is educated. She knows exactly what she's saying, and everybody listens. And we're talking away, and Nancy's sitting in her chair, and she says, "It's in the rule book." And we'd talk, and she'd be like, "Read the rule book." She's just so logical and sharp. And finally, we're like, man, maybe we should read the rule book. What does it say? So, it is that we're seeing the patterns change and add some of these things. The one thing that it's tough. I get shows run late. People don't want to be out there at midnight. And there's times that maybe patterns need to be altered a little bit. And the one thing that we ask show management, judges, and we can't control what they do, and we're not going to tell you what to do by any means, but when you feel the need to shorten things, please discuss it with the course designer, and just keep in mind that there is an end goal to this. Now, if you've got 4 walkovers within different places, maybe that's a little bit much, but please keep in mind to not pull obstacles unless you really have to.
I'd like to just spend a few minutes, this is a good juncture, to talk about what we can all do, okay, as professionals, as exhibitors, amateur, youth, novice, professionals, to help that process so we don't have to shorten the courses. Be at the cone.
Yeah.
Okay? Poor Tim or whoever's running the gate, I see it all the time. It used to be me. I've really turned over a new leaf in the last 5 years. And you know what? It's nice. Use the opportunity. You want to school. You know what? Be respectful. You know what? You go around the wheel 3 times. Maybe you shouldn't do the slow obstacles at the end. Yeah. That costs time. And I always hear people, well, it's my money. Well, the course is 2.5 minutes. You didn't pay for 5 minutes.
That's right.
There's things that you can do to help the process.
Yeah. No, and that's just and Brad, from a judge's standpoint, we talked about this yesterday, if I remember right. How much as the judge, you're going to let them, all of a sudden I go up and I miss a spot or whatever, and I stop and pull up. I normally look up at the judges and say, hey, do you mind me circling this one more time? And I'll circle that up. And if I continue my pattern, if I crash again, the way I look at it is I'm out.
Right.
I crash, I'm out.
Right.
If I can circle it once and they allow me to continue, I might finish it. But yeah, at the end, just, you know what? I can fix my backup later. Skip it and get out. Let the next person get in.
Yeah. I agree. That's a topic we've covered here before. And, there's that time. We have that time as judges in our head that's going because we probably already watched 50 trail goes. And so when we see that time starting to tick away and you can't find your spot or you didn't get your horse ready or whatever, and you, again, when that 2.5 minute course turns into 3 and 3.5 and 5, then, I have no problem asking somebody to leave. It doesn't mean I'm going to hold anything against you the rest of the day, but it's just, if I need to be the one to make somebody upset, but it helps the rest of our horsemen finish their horse show at a more timely manner, then I don't mind being that person.
And often you're probably going to remember them in a better light.
Oh,
sorry, my bad. You're probably going to remember that person in a better light, right, Brad?
Right. Absolutely.
Hey, they were respectful of me. They were respectful of their horse.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
some of my friends, when a judge excuses them, they're upset. I mean, as long as they weren't stepping on a line, being abusive to their animal. Sometimes as an exhibitor, you have to understand, there are 100 more goes after you.
Yep.
And the judge is not mad at you.
No.
You're in your zone, doing your thing out there. You might not even realize that you're taking 4 minutes of their time up.
Yep.
Hey, Bradford.
Yes, sir.
Can we take a rake break?
Let's take a rake break, and then are we doing our rapid fire before?
Bring me the music, yeah.
All right, let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for rapid fire.
So it goes Robin, Geno.
All right, so I don't know that these guys are like, what's going on? I know Geno's done it before. Robin's like, what the heck is rapid fire?
Yeah, no clue.
Hang on, boys.
So these are going to be questions. Are we going to swap here, one to Robin, one to Geno, back and forth?
Yeah, yep. Robin, you ready? I'm just going to ask you a
So
question.
it can be a one-word answer, Robin. It's just whatever comes to your head. Go, Tim, go.
Robin, what do you like to do on your day off?
Hang out with my wife and my dog.
Perfect. Geno, what's the last place you took Sarah out to dinner that's out of town?
Oh, good question. Florida. Steakhouse. Burn Steakhouse.
Nice.
What's your favorite color and why?
Brown, baby. What are you talking about?
Why?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Why? Earth tone, easy, simple. What
Why
does
do you only
Johnny
use
say all
blue
the
vet
time?
wrap?
You're
Geno,
down with brown.
Nice.
Geno, what's your worst habit?
Run over people in trail warm up.
That came out fast.
Robin Frid, are you superstitious and what about?
Yes, I am superstitious, no doubt. So, what about the number one thing I'm superstitious about? It's altered through the years, but is the horsemanship finals. I'm very superstitious. I walk up into that arena the same way every time. I sit, if I think we have a contender, I sit in the same chair every single time. I will ask you to move. And I do not ever stay in the arena for the placings of any of our finals classes, ever.
Good. Geno, who intimidates you the most at a horse show?
Nancy Sue and Gil Gallion.
Okay.
Man, you sure you didn't tell him these questions before? Because he's got them right on.
Robin Frid, what's your favorite country to visit?
Switzerland.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
No doubt.
Geno, name the cheapest wine that's your favorite. Oh, come on, man.
Bogle. Essential Red.
Okay. Robin Frid,
Sir.
name the favorite obstacle to judge in trail.
My favorite obstacle to judge in the trail?
Yes.
The gate.
Okay, I love the gate too.
Wow.
Geno, last one. Favorite horse show on the East Coast?
Florida.
Florida, okay. That's it, guys. That's the best I got tonight.
Good job. Good job.
I thought you stump
We're going
us.
to take a little break to thank our sponsors, and we will be right back.
1 minute, guys.
A lot more to go.
Keeping It Real is brought to you by
Kimes Ranch Jeans.
Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, C. Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeurdo, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers, Machine Made, Winning Couture.
All right, we are back. We've got some questions that we're going to hit here in a little bit, but I know we need to get to Frankie, right, Tim? We need to pull up some of these pictures of these poles here in a second. And Tim took the time to go out to his arena in Vollmerville today and set up some obstacles for you guys. Again, just to kind of let everybody see that, hey, we're not changing the world here. It's just simple things that I think a lot of people have already seen. And again, everybody wish Geno a happy birthday today. All right, Timmy.
Okay. So show me, I'm Frankie first. So here is just 4 or 5 different side passes that we built, or I built out there with my Laker poles. Just basically, there's the single pole that I find people have trouble with, just stepping over, side passing, and stepping off, especially if you have walkovers in front or back of that. Like when I did virtual trail, I saw a lot of people have trouble coming off that pole and doing 3 walkovers behind that.
So, Tim, if you're talking about a specific one, can you tell us either top left, top right, or bottom?
Top right, upper right-hand corner, okay? Upper right-hand corner, yep. And then we'll go shoot across to the left of that, the L turn, okay?
Okay.
And this one's one I learned in Florida and Prairie Classic that because it's new, not new, but we haven't done it a lot, everyone struggles around this corner, okay? Poor Carson had to reset that corner, and they just hit it lightly. It's not like they're going to car crash it. They just skim it. They drag that front leg around that corner. So that pole became a nuisance just because you guys didn't know how to do it very well yet. And then over maybe the center one, okay, the center one, that just represents side passing in the gap. And what I see with that is no one's side pass is very straight going across the board, okay?
So somebody's setting that up at home, Tim. What's the gap that you usually put between those poles?
7 feet. About 7 feet is what I like on that one. Okay. And then the one to the left of that, the 2 poles there, a smaller gap. That's the one where you either side pass with the front legs in the gap or the back legs in the gap. And usually about 4 foot is the width I like to use on that. And I learned this from one of the ranch patterns that Patty has, that the side pass with the back legs in the gap is super hard because you can't see it very well. So that's probably on somebody's radar, okay?
Yep.
And actually, that one has, the one that's on the left, it's really a side pass to the back, but when there's a gap like that, you guys ought to practice backing with your back legs in that gap where you can't see it very well, because I do like that one. And then the one with Frankie to the right, bottom right, that just has them all. They have the big gap, the small gap, the L turn, the single, and then the combination. So gotcha. I just threw some stuff out there for people, basic stuff that you ought to practice, okay? It's like a gym of side passing out there, okay? So it's on your radar, duly noted.
Good stuff.
Maybe I just want to show a couple things real quick, like Sandra's picture maybe real quick. I'm just going to show you quick pics. These are back in 67, 69. I Patty one of these today. That's carrying the slicker and she's double stepping that one, but those are like 18 inches between the gaps. Then there's 2 water hazards there where Carson was asking me about why don't we do the water hazard, but at Oklahoma it's hard because there's concrete down below and I'm not sure it's going to hold the water.
Yeah.
And then we have Robin and my sister's picture of the bridges, maybe. Kona. You have Robin's picture there?
I think there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Shirt and hat.
Love it.
Shirt and hat. Oh, my God, I loved it. So that's Mr. Frid there. You want to comment on this picture, Mr. Frid?
So I'm thinking 19 years old. Actually, a friend of mine that we've become reacquainted here in the past couple of years, and she's actually her and her daughter together are doing part of our video lessoning that Jenny and I are doing. But she sent me this picture today. She's cleaning out her attic. Paint World, probably 92 or 93-ish. Horse's name was Eddie Bauer, owned by Nancy Oldham at the time, now Nancy Sherman.
Got it. How about the MOT picture, I guess, too, with the walkovers and like that? So a couple of my walkovers when I was skinny and young, okay? And then my sister with the rolling poles on the left-hand side, and she's skipping a gap over there. But that's just a little history, this little history trying to bring the 1960s and 1970s to the 2020s, okay?
Hopefully we don't elevate that high again.
Yeah, the stewards probably wouldn't let me do that, but but I was just sharing you some old pictures, and it's not like I'm going to change like that. I just want to give you what it used to be. Some of you guys might not have ever seen it that way, and that's kind of my history. I saw it that way, so I know how to do it. It's not like I'm going to do it, but Just a little sharing. Sharing is caring around here.
So
okay.
Is it okay if we go back up to the Dan Trine question?
Yeah, there's Dan and Charlie there.
Where are we going? There it is right there. It says, maybe you guys should talk about the cool straggler who assumes last is going to get the best score. Our well-educated judges are ready to reward any horse no matter when they are in order. And I know, speaking on my behalf, Robin's behalf too, I'm sure that that is very true. Honestly, I love to see those early ones come in when it's a at will day at the trail, because there's conflicts that there's nothing we like to see more than to see somebody knowing that they're going to be in the other pen as well, saying, you know what, I'm going to get my trail done, so we're not delaying the show. Not saying that it's always that way, that it's always being delayed, but there's nothing harder than sitting there all day and then all of a sudden, hey, we're waiting on one horse, and then that horse comes in. And I got to say, it's happened more than once when we waited for that one exhibitor that we get there, and then that one exhibitor ends up scratching while we're waiting for them to warm up. So I don't know if you've ever had that happen before, Robin, but it is.
I've had it happen.
I'll try to make it fast.
Sorry, Geno.
So in Lexington, Virginia, this is a long time ago. I had my first really good trail horse, and he went on to be a youth world champion, lived out on the West Coast, owned by a customer. Now that's a customer of Brad, Suzanne Muller. And I was leading the circuit. I always had to go at the end. I was leading the circuit in Virginia when it was big. And all of a sudden, I was waiting. She had to go showing horsemanship. The judges waited for me for 1.5 hours, and I split a rail. From that day on, I didn't wait till the end.
Can you say that Tim waited for you?
You're echoing.
I said,
What'd you say, Tim?
I waited too.
You were waiting for it, yes.
Got it.
Robin, did you have something to add to that?
No, I've had it happen as a judge, and I've had it happen as an exhibitor too. I mean, I've been the last one. Sometimes you can't get around it.
Yeah.
Arizona, I remember keep trying to get up there and show. They won't let you in. They won't let you in. And, it happens, but most judges kind of know. You can tell when it's been a forced, delayed deal and when the person truly has been trying to get up there. You can normally tell.
How about this one, too? Like, I've seen this live where Miss Carter is warming their judges up. And I remember the Rainer steward or the monitor was telling these guys, you need to be ready to judge. You need to be like ready to go. Like the winner could be that first horse. And I know she preps them that way. So if you're first and you're a gunner and you can make it happen, you look at Ryan that one time at Congress. So,
Congress, 5 firsts.
Yeah.
No judges prep.
Yeah.
So they're just sitting there cold.
Well, and I think Blake did the same thing one year as well. I don't know if it was in the green or the junior or whatever, but I remember, I don't know, maybe that was the year I judged. I don't know. But I remember, yeah, absolutely. And I think Ryan had done it the year before, 2 years before, or something like that. So, yeah, absolutely. Good judges.
It's a mindset. If you're a good judge, you'll be ready to go. If that one pops and he's the one, he'll can judge. I mean, it's easy. I think it's easy. Like you see 1.5, it's gonna. How much better can that get? I kind of need to ask you guys where you think we're going. I mean, like we talked a little bit tonight. You might have another question or two, but like, what's the next phase of this? I mean, before our next meeting and stuff like that. Is it? Do we need another horse show for us to evaluate where we're at, or like? Do you think we're going the right direction from where we started in November?
Go ahead, Rob.
I believe firmly we're going in the right direction, no doubt. I just know, whenever I talk, I can only really talk on a personal level what's going on with our group of people. And I don't want to speak for everybody else, but my horses are more broke than they have been in a long time. My young horses are more broke. They can drag things. They have been sacked out. They have been doing things that I haven't done in a long time. Now, I've got more time on my hands, as do we all. So I'm doing my job a little bit better. I mentioned to Tim the other day, the side pass whooped one of my novices, who I'm going to remain nameless. It whooped her 2 horse shows in a row every time he did it. And I told him, bring it. She's ready for you now. Any side pass you want, she's ready for you, because she's been home practicing it. So, I believe firmly we are in the right direction, and we're doing things well. So where do we go from here? I'm not saying we're starting from scratch, but I think as far as course designers, they probably need to get a feel for the public starting it out, right? Where is everybody? Everyone's, I always think of Florida kind of as everyone's just joking around because the year's over and you're starting the new one. And it could be that again. We kind of have to start this thing up a little bit again, but definitely not to the point that we had before.
So I got one more on this too. And this is the Gary Roberts story that we talked about. At first, Florida and Prairie Classic, Carson and my ring crew had to reset that side pass up a lot. Yeah. And that's what took a lot more time, because every horse did it, and every time Carson would have to go out there and reset it. But pretty soon, like Gary Roberts, I'm going to quote him, that the better we get at this, the less you're going to have to move that pole, the less times Carson has to go out there and reset it. Yeah. So hopefully we catch up on some time the further we go in the year, when you have to do that side pass more and more, right?
I think a lot of people, have been using this time at home. We've all been doing home projects, whatever. Some of us have been, doing radio shows and knocking that out. But in the same boat, I think there's a lot of horse trainers home busting their butt, and working hard. And I think a lot of them are going to come out of the first horse show. They might be a little rusty, but they're ready to rock, and they've done their homework. And, again, we're riding the fire out of ours at home right now, and really enjoying teaching our horses, learning from our horses, and teaching our students again. And that's something in the normal rat race we don't get to do as much.
Right. Now, that's the point I was just going to bring up, is it has been so fun to get to actually spend some time with my kids and amateurs and teach them things that I felt when we were on the road all the time that I couldn't really dig my heels in and say, we need to really spend some time doing this instead of just patching it together for the next horse show.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It has been so fun and really inspiring. And then especially with a lot of the guys that we've had on here, and women too, on our show here, they've been truly inspiring as well. That a couple of times I've gotten off the show and I'm like, man, I want to go ride, because it's just, it pumps you up, because it's just new things that you want to do, whether it's a reiner, a cow horse, or a pleasure guide that we've had on, So I have definitely enjoyed this time, feeling that I can teach the whole process and not just have to, skip over any steps. I can really spend time on each step.
I'm going to tell you that let me do it.
Go ahead.
I don't think I'm going to surprise you guys coming June, wherever we go back. Next time we go out, I don't think my side pass will surprise you. You'll be there, right? Yeah. So, the playing field's a little bit more level because you had time to digest it and practice it, and it's available for me to use. Same thing with the bridge, right? So there's things out there that I already know you had time to practice. So if you don't have it, that's shame on you a little bit. But I'm just I think it's fair game now. I think it's fair.
I agree with what Tim said, and I will ask everybody that's watching to help us spread the word. So when we do start up showing, people aren't shocked by seeing a side pass. Right. In Florida, it was a little rough, I'll admit, and I helped Tim kind of talk through it and help him talk to people. But now we have to get the message out there. And I think that, everybody listening knows trainers, knows people that didn't go to Florida, didn't go to Arizona, and could help us spread our message?
I'm not going to change the world, you guys. I'm just going to enhance it. Okay. Like I said, I hate, it's not like I want you guys to crash, maybe, but I want you guys to be able to show your horses and show me different skills. The second part of this, real quick, is the steering obstacles. I love to make you guys steer without all that slack. I want you guys to pick up the slack a little bit and be able to move your horse left to right or circle the cone or circle the pole. That's the other little piece, and the transition, right? That lope off. I own you guys on that, but you guys went home and practiced it. I get it. You'll catch up to me now.
Brad, do we have enough time to let Robin talk about carrying an obstacle? I think it's really important.
Absolutely.
I know
we had a question about that earlier, so absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh boy, the elephant in the room, right? So thanks for throwing me that one, Geno. I'm joking. In the rule book, and Tim kind of brought back a sack of cans at the Open World Show and the Senior Trail, and then we have seen it again just a little bit. We saw it at the Prairie Classic. I know in Florida they kind of had to take it out because the wind was so strong, like it wouldn't even stay on the standard. But I think keeping in mind, we don't want to call this a sack of cans. It is an object that requires you to carry it. And the rule book says anything reasonable object that you might find on a trail ride. Is it right there, almost word for word in the rule book? And it could be a sack of cans because it's the garbage that you took into the trail when you were riding, and you've got to take it back out. It could be a sack of anything, and it could be a sack of popcorn, whatever. So the key is, and Geno touched on it earlier, unfortunately, not every horse is going to allow you to teach that particular type of thing. I have one horse, and we talked again yesterday or earlier today about it, whatever it was, and if you pick up an empty bag of whatever, you're gone. And we don't even try with him. It's not worth putting the horse through that and putting him through that stress. And it's because we know that about him. And you know what? If she reaches the finals where it's there, we're out. It is the way it is. And I hate that. But for many, many horses, if you spend the time sacking them out and teaching them and just do it slowly, you can go to the article that Cynthia and them did. We kind of reworded it and took, I think, the sack of cans out, or the garbage bag or whatever. But, Cynthia has done this for years, and she's exceptionally good at it. And it talks about how slow to teach that horse. And I think that's just something in the quiet, teaching a horse to be a quiet, kind, I use the word highway broke kind of horse. It is an important aspect. And it goes back to the foundation of that horse. If we would teach it in the beginning from being a young weanling, yearling, whatever, especially as a 2-year-old, and go back to that basic training of getting it quiet, perhaps we wouldn't be running into these dilemmas later on.
Well, and we're going to put up Charlie's comment here earlier, which is so true, which goes right into the horse that you were just talking about. You see what he says? That's what makes trail so good. One day or show you might be the winner. The next day you might not, because of something like this. It's no different than any other obstacle that you might have that maybe your horse doesn't do as well. So, I mean, that statement right there says it all, and you just accept that, just like you are right now. That it may show up at a place, it may not. But the other questions we had were about will these be at all the horse shows? And I think, Geno, you had said that's part of what this task force is about, right? Is making sure that it gets out to everybody so that you don't have to just be going to, the Sun Circuit or the Congress or Florida or these major horse shows in order to see these obstacles. This task force is to help encourage all course designers, correct?
Right. Yeah, we're gonna see it in Springfield, Massachusetts, in College Station, Texas, in I'm lost for words, but
How about this?
If you go, sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
If you go back, Dave Dillon taught me a long time ago, read the rule book.
Yeah.
And Nancy Cahill reminded us, read the rule book. And if you're showing in a class, you need to read the rule book as to what it says about that class from beginning to end on that topic. There's every class at the beginning has got a paragraph of what they're looking for, and then it goes into the rules, the scoring, whatever. Read the rule book about whatever class you're going to show in, what the judges are looking for, and what can be asked of you. And you're going to find all the answers right there.
Brad Jewett, here's my one piece of this too. Yes, it's going to be out in the public. Yes, the more courses I can draw around the country, I will incorporate. Charlie Cole, Virtual Trail, both courses have a side pass in it. Big deal. I mean, I judged it, but I even the lowest level, not the lowest level, but that Virtual Trail, I told a lot of people they better have that side pass. I'm trying to roll it in there, touch it here, touch it there without making a big mess. Trying to inspire you guys to have that move. It could be a blank area, it could be a pole, it could be a gap, it could be a corner. You need to have all of that for that rainy day. But I'm just trying to keep you guys in line, I guess.
Hey, can I before, just because one that came up that's an important, I just saw Kathy Weiss Boland. How do you get a rule book? I'm a newbie. You can download it. AQHA has and a rule book app that has it right there on it, Kathy. So, you can download that rule book on any one of your smartphones on your computer and just read through it.
Thanks for catching that, Robin.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm pretty good there. How about you guys? Anything else you want to talk about?
I'm thinking I'm good.
Wow. Geno's speechless over there. Come on, man.
No, I thought it was great. It was fun, informational. It was just a great night.
Well,
thanks for the platform to help
you guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time tonight to help us all. Monica, thank you for putting that up there for Kathy. That's great. And with that, we'll let you guys go finish your dinner, have your birthday cake, Geno, whatever it is. You still got your birthday cupcake?
Bradford, how about tomorrow night?
Oh, no, I got a cake.
It's actually cupcakes.
The coconut cake recipe from Smith & Wolinski's.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Don't deserve her.
Love it. Patty Carter.
I don't. You're right.
You can order a rule book online. There you go. Thank you, Patty Carter.
Thank you, Patty Carter. Brad Jude, how about tomorrow night?
Yeah, all right. We'll let Geno and Robin go, and then we'll talk a little bit about tomorrow night and a little bit about next week. Thank you, Geno. Thank you, Robin.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
So we got tomorrow night, we have Mr. Justin Billings. We got to visit with him today. There's going to be some breaking news. I think we can actually say it.
Yeah.
We can actually say it. There's going to be some breaking news, so everybody's definitely going to want to tune in tomorrow night for that. And then we'll talk a little bit about next week. Who's on Monday night, Tim?
Mr. Steve Meadows. Steve Meadows is in the house on Monday.
Wednesday, we've got Miss Katie Jo Zeidema, Mr. Aaron Moses, and Mr. Andy Cochran coming in, just kind of giving us some Western pleasure information. We're going to have a little sit-down round-table-y kind of talk and see where their businesses are at this moment and what other people might learn from their businesses. And who we got on Friday, Tim?
Miss Leslie Lang.
Leslie Lang from Colorado. So we've got another great week lined up for everybody next week. We thank you again to our sponsors. We couldn't do this without you. Please, if you missed tonight, the whole thing, please go to our YouTube page at The Keeping It Real Show, The Keeping It Real Show YouTube page, and you can watch all of our past episodes and this one as well. We also, anyone that is interested in sponsoring or being a guest, please go to thekeepingitrealshow.com, thekeepingitrealshow.com, and fill out that email there. Let us know if you'd be interested in any of that. So with that, Tim, what are your parting words?
Make sure you like us too.
Like us on Facebook, absolutely, and keep trail great.
Wait, I got one more real quick. Ready?
All right, so I love it. I love it when you talk, man.
I know. You know who made this saying, "Make trail great again"? Did I ever tell you that story real quick?
You.
No. Charlie Cole.
Charlie Cole.
Charlie Cole is the one that invented this. Is that right? He told me that one day. He said, "You should call it Make Trail Great Again." Charlie Cole. I'm
That's
give him props on that.
Good stuff.
Little trivia there. So.
We're excited too, Leslie. Again, thank you everybody for coming, and we will see you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Geno. Thanks, Bradford. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kona.
This has been a Kona Cam production. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.